think we're right on time. Right on time. This might be the first time ever that we've been right on time, going live exactly 11 o'clock sharp a.m. Eastern time with our intro music. And Rip is
Wait a minute. Well,
just hanging there.
you asked me to do something.
I said in a week. I said text
Well,
him in a week.
I got,
Not right now. I said
No, I was just making sure I had.
I said send him a text in a week.
Well, I was making sure that I had his number, which
Yeah.
which I do.
You have to have his number. You sent it to me. So if you don't have it, then I have it.
Okay.
So we got that covered.
Well, hell, you can't have everything perfect. I got here on time.
Or nothing perfect.
Oh, nothing perfect. Yeah, what the hell, right? But at least the ringer's off on my phone.
Scoot over here a little bit, Rip. Join the show.
Well, you
Oh,
told
wait.
me.
Oh, shit. Wrong way.
Oh.
Actually, let me in here.
Oh, okay.
Let me in here. There we go. We got on today, Rip. You got your,
Well, it's the same clothes
you
I've
got
had
your
on.
Dave Marquez thing on every
yeah,
day, and
yeah, I got. Well, you
your
know.
stories, whatever that shirt is, every day.
Yeah.
Rip used to have one of the shirts that we sell, but he never wears it. He just likes to promote other people's stuff
I think it's in the bottom
instead of ours.
the bottom of my bag.
Mm,
I think
interesting.
is what it is.
Thank the Lord for Big Al Robinson. He bought 2 shirts yesterday, and that or not yesterday, but last week, and that money just came in, Rip. So you get like $6 extra today.
All right, so I can actually get something to eat.
Yeah. Rip can eat today. Let's see. We got Buckshot Kid in green in the house. That means he's a member. Hello, Rip and Vaughn. Medium 5 with one of his comments that he usually has boobs.
Well,
Boobs.
Well, it's got to be TNA, tits and ass,
Some kind of
Tits and
kind of
clit.
sexual something.
slide and glide.
Hey,
Yeah,
wouldn't have it any other way for Medium 5. You know what I'm saying, Rip?
medium 5's over. You know, he's got a lot of Vincent Kennedy McMahon in him. You know what I mean?
And he's in green. That's the
The most important thing
thing.
is he's in green.
George Jessen, best part of the week. Welcome from outer space, George, or whatever, the future, or whatever that's from.
Yeah.
Stephen Key says lots to talk about today. Hope he fills us in because I got a blank piece of paper over here.
Well, we don't ever prepare anyway.
Well, I do a lot of days. I mean, last week I brought up like 50 pictures and had all kinds of things to talk about.
But did we do it?
Oh yes, yeah,
okay, I
went through
can't
all
remember.
of them. Yeah, you just don't really ever pay
What?
attention or realize all the work I put into it. So today I just didn't do anything. Like piss on it. I'm not gonna do anything today.
Okay. Hey, I can handle all this shit.
All right, well, pop up some pictures then.
Well,
Some current
pop
news.
up.
Pop up all the stuff Stephen Key says is we got to talk about today. Or lead. What we got? What do we got to talk about? We got a lot to talk about today.
Oh.
You said you got it handled, so what do we got, man?
Oh, I was just thinking. You know, I mean, I think every once in a while, I'm thinking. I saw a picture. It was with Baba and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. In Japan, where Vince comes to the ring. So I'm working for Baba. I'm sitting in the dressing room. All of a sudden, Vince McMahon comes strutting around. He looks left, looks right. I guess he was looking for Baba. Hell, I don't know. All of a sudden, he just turned around and left. Right.
That was it.
And that was it. So I said, well, fuck him. That's what I'm thinking.
Did you ever see him again the rest of the night or the tour?
No, wait a minute.
Okay,
So,
all right.
So he comes in the ring that night when Baba's in there for something and they shake hands. And I guess he flew halfway across the world to shake Baba's hand in Coriocan Hall, I guess, whatever the fuck it was. But the whole rib, I went out there and stole the goddamn fucking show, which I knew I fucking would. I thought he'd be fucking, well, we're over 30 seconds in, so I can do that.
Okay.
You know, I know the official rules. You know, I might bend him sometime. I might break him sometime. Hell, I might blow the son of a bitches up sometime. But anyway, back to that. So I said, well, fucking Vince, he just gonna come back and go, wow, what an entrance. I could not believe it. I was thinking, that motherfucker never said a word, whatever, right? And he was out of there. So I guess he was in there for the handshake and out of there. So I stole the show as usual in Baba's. So that's so funny. The first time I come in, they beat the shit out of me and Danny Spivey on TV. Danny Spivey was so motherfucking tough, dollar bill down. Everybody was scared to death. He was the guy who beat the shit out of Adrian Adonis, and Adrian Adonis was a very tough guy, but you didn't pick on Dollar Bill Dan. Good rib was we was walking home from McDonald's.
In Japan?
Yeah, in Japan. And so I got Danny talking stories and shit. So So I took his billfold he left on the table right as a rib. So we're walking back about 6 blocks to the fucking thing. And I said, and I got my billfold. I said, Daddy, where's your? I got my fanny pack out. You always had my fanny pack, of course. Need a new one now, but what the fuck, right? So I said, Danny, where's you got your billfold? He goes, oh my God. He says, I left it back at the thing. So and Daddy's about 6'6", 6'7". He's like your height, and all of a sudden he turns beat fucking red. I said, Danny, come here. I got your billfold. I was just fucking ribbing you. He says, oh my God. I said, no, don't get mad. Now you just learned a lesson. You will always remember your fucking billfold. He said, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that was Dollar Bill Dan. But we went out in our first match in TV, and I guess they're always super duper snug, stiff. Hara, I knew him when he was a rookie in 1978, and he come in at the Maritimes, and in Tenru beat the shit out of us. I'm going, God damn. The next night, I immediately go into a effeminate character and just steal the motherfucking show. In other words, these motherfuckers ain't going to hit me no more. So I'll be threatening to put my finger up their arse, or I'll be walking up their arm with ooh this and that. And after that, Joe Higuchi said, Baba-san said, you do that every night. So all of a sudden, that was the first tour. And the second tour I come in, all of a sudden, guess who was undefeated in the tours until the last 3 fucking days?
Well, how many days were there? 4?
No, we was there 4 weeks. So
okay.
And we worked every day.
No.
And what it was the last 3 days we was in.
It was a joke, Rip.
We was in Tokyo. So I said, oh fuck. And so Joe says, Ripson, get a finish. So I give him a finish. He says, oh no, you going down. I said, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be undefeated till the end. He said, oh no. He said, all 3 shows sold out. You can lose every night. I said, oh, hell, in that case, whatever their finish is, just beat me like I give a rat's ass. So anyway.
So you don't want to put yourself over, but.
That was a Mike Shaw. That was a Norman. That was a Norman the Lunatic. That was Bastion Booger. He said, that was the greatest way. And you nicked me for it. You stole it right there. I don't want to put myself over, but I said, then why do you?
But I stole the show.
You stole the show, right?
Back to Vince McMahon in the ring. So did he come back and say that was the great entrance? Was that?
No. I didn't say. No, all I did was see him in the ring. It was like it was almost like he strutted into the.
Oh, I thought
building.
You said that he said, or somebody came back and said, "What a great entrance." You were just saying that about him. Is that? I thought you said he said.
No, he wouldn't have said that.
Okay,
no,
all right.
No, he just come in, look left, look right, like thought. It looks like. Where the fuck's Baba? You know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he comes strutting out to the fucking ring. When it was over, he left.
So do you think he watched you steal the show that night?
Probably not.
No.
If he did, he wasn't going to put me over because I wasn't going to put him over. Fuck him.
Double not put overs.
Mm-hmm. Of course, he was going to win because he was the billionaire.
Yeah. Trying to get this camera figured out. Thought you had this all under control today.
Oh, Bull Diggin just said something about the poof gimmick. Well, he got a right to poof gimmick.
Steve Keys in the house. I'll talk about today. Opinion Haver in the house. Longest living member of our channel, Rip. Ahoy, he said. Is that California
Popeye
talk?
No, that's fucking Popeye talk.
Popeye talk.
Yeah, remember
was Popeye from California?
Well, I don't know.
If he was, then you know Opinion Haver knows him.
You're too young for this, but when Popeye first come,
I'm not too young for Blutus and Bruto and Brutus.
Okay,
and
okay, well, hell,
I know where you're going with this story.
Well,
we've been down this road.
Well, hell, you know
many times. Rip.
Okay, well, you know I can't remember.
I used to watch it all the time, man.
God, Olive Oil never. She was sort of flat. Well, she was more than flat chested, wasn't she? Hell, I'd have rather done wimpy. At least I got the hamburger.
Jeez. Taliana's in the house. Bobby Lopez, hello from Fresno, baby. We got fans from Fresno.
I actually wrestled in Fresno.
Did you?
Yeah, years ago. There was some guy I met. God, when I was in Portland. I was on the West Coast, and then he had me out for a seminar. So I flew into Fresno, and I was there 2 days and flew back home. But hell, that's been I don't know how many years ago. But Fresno, it's over with me.
Medium 5 in green says Rip is looking suave.
Who
Or is
said
it
that?
suave or suave? Suave,
Well,
I
I
think, right?
think it's suave, but to be medium 5, he put a little French on there. All of a sudden, it's suave.
Suave.
Yeah, it's like when we have Rip Rogers Live or Rip Rogers Live. It depends if he put the little gimmick Snabitzes on there or not.
Yeah. Bobby Lopez said, Vaughn, I will never say you look like Billy Jack Haynes again in the chat. Is that because, is it because he killed somebody? Is that why?
Yeah, he shot his wife.
Is that what it was? I never did look.
Yeah,
I never looked it up.
I did. And you know what's so funny is I was always scared to death. And I told you I was scared to death of Billy Jack Haynes. And you always, and I remember when Billy was a mark and Buddy Rose would just spit in his face and everything. Billy like ringside shit.
Really?
And Buddy would spit at him. I said, God damn, Buddy, he'll fucking kill you.
So that's what he supposedly did, allegedly did, or is this like he did probably?
I
Like it
guess
looks like he did.
He did.
Now, was this a wife that he had for a while, or was he?
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
And Billy's about 70, and I think his wife was about 80 or something like that. But knowing women, she had to get that human mouth going, and finally cracked him.
Unbelievable, man.
Well, I'm unbelievable.
Oh, so yeah, let's shoot her. Yeah, my God.
I didn't
Rip.
say he should have shot her.
Jesus.
I didn't say he should have shot her. But I think he was like Popeye. That's all I can stand. I can't stand no more.
Did it say what happened? I mean, it wasn't like a I had a couple neighbors that grew up by the King that actually, well, they ended up doing a murder suicide because they were both getting older. They were just done with it. So they
wait a minute. Is this the ones that lived on Chestnut Street?
No.
Okay, you're talking about the King. So
they lived
by the King.
It wasn't like where I grew up, Lady Marion. So they did killed the wife and then killed himself.
Oh, we're back of the high school then.
Yeah, but it was all like planned though.
Ooh.
So you don't think this was like a planned thing? He was like, she didn't want to die, is what you're saying?
I think she was in ill health.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess if you're 80, you're in ill health no matter what. Even if you're in great health, you're in ill health.
Bobby Lopez said you did a seminar in Fresno.
I told you that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You just
No, remember I just told you I did a seminar out there and the guy brought me out there and I was there 2 days and everything.
Sometimes I don't listen to you, Rip.
Oh, I wouldn't either. What the hell?
It says Mike Myers said Popeye. Here's some interesting tidbit. Popeye was from Chester, Illinois. Did you know that?
Now wait a minute. How can a cartoon character?
But he said at least the creator and the person he was based on.
Oh, okay. From where in Illinois?
Chester, Illinois.
Oh, I didn't know that was a hot spot, Chester, but what the hell, right?
Manny Fernandez was in Fresno. Do you remember that, Rip?
No.
Ooh, now Medium 5 put the little apostrophe
Suave.
thing. Suave.
See, he's listening.
Opinion Neighbor said Fresno, California, so Bobby and I are pretty tight. Yep, they are almost best friends. They both live in California.
And Italian, so I don't condone murder, but I understand. What the hell?
He's like you, Rip.
Rowan and Martin.
Who's Rowan and Martin?
Rowan and Martin, that's in Laugh-In. Where was you at in 68?
Now, that was before my time. I was born in 73.
Okay, well, I'll let you slide on that one. That was a little history lesson there.
Bobby Lopez said they're neighbors.
It don't get any better than this.
All right, Rip's not going to pull anything up. He said he had everything out planned out today, but he's not getting anything. So we're all caught up in the chat. Shout out to Starcade, baby.
Well, you gotta
we've had a lot of people do comments wanting to know who does our music. So here it is, right here, Starcade. That's who does our music.
I just want to watch the Mocha.
Rip Rogers t-shirts. You got the Hustler shirt and a bunch of other fanny pack shirts, some other shirts there, ProWrestlingTees.com. And we also have the Wrestling with Rip Rogers, the official shirt of this show, Rip.
Yeah, I need to have Medium 5 get some kind of collection thing so I can get me a new fanny pack.
And we have a Amazon.com, Rip's book. It's got the cool looking haircut there. Rip's book right here.
Yeah, see,
right there.
I'm on the jacket before the other jacket, before I got the Dave Marquez jacket now. before that, oh, now you're skipping around so fast. I was
Well,
trying to
it's
tell my
real
jacket.
slow. I mean, all right. Tell the
Okay.
jacket story. I'm trying to
Okay.
plug stuff.
And
It's not,
and then
this isn't
see,
story time right now.
yeah, but this is the Dave Marquez jacket. Before that, I wore this like a blue blast jacket, but I got caught in my car and I ripped the arm out. But hell, I didn't stop anything. Then before that, I had the jacket I got in Seymour for $3 at the place over there by John Myers's gym. There, you could look at
Crossroads Gym.
Yeah, Crossroads Gym. And then, but I remember that the jacket cost $3. It was awesome.
All right.
So I wore that son of a bitch about 20 years.
If you didn't miss last week, we had the live double birthday bash last week, and we also celebrate our 2-year anniversary. Go back to this video. It's in our live section. Go. Even if you haven't done it yet,
or does it live?
go and like this right now. Share it.
Smash.
Comment on it. Get this thing going back out. We're almost, I think, 1,000 views on it or whatever. So One Man Gang was nice enough to join us live last week, which brings us to our guest this week, Rip. I mean, he's not here yet, but Danny Cage is on today at 12 Eastern. So all you East Coasters, which I think we have quite a few on here, Danny Cage is an East Coast guy, right, Rip?
He's the East Coast. His real name is Danny McDonald, but I like, what a cool name, Danny Cage.
I like it.
Danny fucking Cage is just a cool name. He's a cool guy. So he's had me I've been in the Monster Factory a couple times there, and he's got a great facility there, and he's like king of the East Coast of wrestling schools. And he's trained a lot of top stars that have made it to the big time, and we'll let him brag on that when he gets on here. But he's a nice guy. He's a hell of a guy. I think he'll give you the shirt off his back, and you're going to be able to see Danny Cage on here today. I guess it's live, or is it live?
Wrestling with Ask Rip Rogers live.
Live, okay,
yeah.
but he's going to be coming on about 12 noon. He might come on a minute early just to fuck with me, or he might come on a minute late just to double fuck with me, because he's going to fuck with me one way or the other.
One way or the other.
Mm-hmm. I'm still
also,
thinking about Chester, Illinois, about Popeye the Sailor Man, and he had the gimmick eye where it was like a little dot, and that was it. And he had them great forearms, which means, I guess, when you're the sailor in the season, he ran funny, and he had the gimmick tattoos on them big Popeye and people talk about Popeye like forearms, right?
Yeah,
which just means, I guess, it's excessive masturbation in the cartoon world.
But a bunch of wrist curls. They could have done wrist curls.
You're right. Or reverse. And he ran funny. He didn't run. He's sort of like whoop whoop. And he
was a cartoon. I mean,
I get
those cartoons don't just run like normal humans, especially back from the 70s.
And when they ever took his hat, well, he'd come. I think he was invented.
he was invented before that. Yeah.
Or like that. But goddamn, I mean, they should have done some of them chest exercises or for olive oil there. I mean, oh my God.
Hey, why don't you make the I'll do this. Why don't you break the news on what we got lined up here in a couple weeks?
Wait a minute.
What you got lined up?
Well, in a couple weeks, we're going to talk to Danny Cage, the king of the Monster Factory.
Today.
And in one of his great students, Matt Riddle, is going to be on our show. He's supposed to be in. Now he was, I says, trying to get him on today, but he had to do some important family stuff. And then next week, he's going to be wrestling in Japan. So the week after that, I think it's going to be Friday, May the 1st. We're going to have.
It'd be March the 1st.
What did I say?
May 1st. March,
yeah. Okay.
March 1st.
Yeah. Point well taken. Spagnoli, Spicola, the great, hey man, he's gonna be right here, live on Wrestling with Rip Rogers. The great Matt Riddle is gonna be right here. What's that date again?
March 1st, Friday, March 1st.
Friday, March 1st,
12 p.m. Eastern time. As of today, he is scheduled to be here. We don't usually announce guests this early, just in case they don't show or conflict happens or whatever. But what the hell? He's supposed to be here March 1st. Put it on your calendar. Matt Riddle, right here, Lila Studios, Wrestling with Rip Rogers. Ask Rip Rogers live.
It don't get any better than that. And and Vince the Prince, who was my go-to guy, was selling my books. All of a sudden, he's disappeared. So I don't know if he went off to Zubaz or whatever that. What's that country? Everybody's rich.
Zimbabwe?
I can't remember what it was. He might be back there because I think he had trouble because he had 2 or 3 wives at the same time. But He was over.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was over with me, Vince the Prince.
So he moved there
was
and lived there and really had multiple wives?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think he's been married 3 times, but I know he had 2 at one time going, but one, it wasn't in the States or where he was married at, so it was okay. So he's good at learning how to bend the rules. So he's over with me,
I
Vince
always
the
thought you were
Prince.
just ribbing me on the multiple wife thing.
No,
That's true, huh?
Yeah. At least that's what he told me. Of course, he could be doing a wrestler's tale, a wrestler's story where some of this may be true. Who knows?
Just trying to get a couple things said here. You know, I get people on our comments say that I'm rude, that I'm like texting on my phone and blah blah blah, and I tell you to shove it up your ass.
Did you say?
I'm trying to produce this show as we go, you know. So
you got all these people that are dinging you, and even though you got it on silent, they're texting you and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not really getting dinged right now, but we had a couple questions. I made a post this morning, and I was on YouTube. I was like, "Hey, we need some questions for Rip today." Greatest toys ever made, 3693, man. He's always on here. He's always making comments. He's always putting the show over, helping that algorithm go, you know, all that kind of stuff like Buckshot
rhythm?
Kip does.
What rhythm?
Algorithm.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah. So it says, Rip, I was wondering if you still have any of your original ring gear.
Oh, I wish I did. Hell no. All that stuff dry rotted. It's all gone. But I had all those robes, all those trunks, all those knee pads or whatever. It could be a nostalgia thing. We could get rich and we could do, and then we could.
So you really have none of it at all?
No. I have no idea where anything's at. I can't remember now.
Well, surely, how does stuff like that just flood? Does that flood? Like a robe, does it flood? You can't just dry it off, like hang it on the clothesline or something?
Well, by the time I got back to the flood thing, they had black mold in there and shit. So it was
yeah, I tell you what, if we had that for our 10,000 subscribers, not only would we dye your beard black, but we would have you dress up in the robe and the boots and all that. Speaking of, where are we at here, Rip? What do we got going on here? Do you have any idea where we're at?
No.
We are at 9,490 subscribers. 9,490. Somebody, I think they were on an old video, or maybe it's Facebook. I think it was Dave Gray. Dave Gray, you on here today? But he looked at like an old post when we had like 2,500 followers or subscribers, and he said, I think you guys will get to 10,000 by the end of the year. And I was like, well, I sure as hell hope so. We're at 9,000. But then I saw he was looking at one where we only had 2,000.
You know, I couldn't sleep good last night because I was thinking about all the good Kenny Bolin does in what's that country where he does he feeds the poor or whatever it is.
I don't know. We got another question for Rip. This is about 8,000 questions. I know you've hit on a lot of these before. You could do it again if you want. It says, any Jimmy Valiant stories? Did Rip ever wrestle Jerry Lawler or any of the Von Erichs? Any Von Erich memories? Any Freebird stories? Did Rip ever wrestle Terry Gordy?
Well, hell, them are all yes things. So when we go right down the line or what?
You don't have to. I mean, pick and choose if you want. You don't have to answer one guy's 9,000 questions.
Okay. Wait, is he in green?
I don't know. This is on you. I don't know. You can't tell from this.
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay, I got. Well, you had the questions up there, and I was gonna.
Well, you can still go answer them. I'm not. I want to if I want to clip this up, I don't want this on the screen the whole time. I want you on the screen.
Oh well.
You can't answer without.
Well, as soon as you take it off, I won't know the next thing.
Well, just okay. Jimmy Valiant.
Okay, handsome Jimmy. When I was first breaking into wrestling business, and I was working for Dick the Bruiser and the Sheik and Nick Goulas, I would actually. And I was working at Hoffmeister's gym in Indianapolis. Jimmy Valiant would get dropped off at the gym by Big Mama, and they would be swapping spick and French kissing and everything. And Jimmy would be out, and he'd come out. Then we'd take my old beat up Pinto and we'd drive to Louisville and Evansville down at Jarrett. So I'd be kissing ass, sucking up, trying, doing stories. He'd chehay me like I was over, and he was ribbing me. And I let him drive sometime, and he'd have my four-speed Pinto going in fifth gear. So I gave Lawler my number, and then he threw it in the wastebasket. So that was a good rib.
So didn't you say Valiant used to come into the gym and like Didn't you say like in jeans or
Oh,
something?
he always had cowboy boots on.
Cowboy boots.
No socks. He had the flared blue jeans. He had no underwear on, and he always had the gold the necklace or whatever it was, and the sweater with no shirt underneath.
This was like working out.
Yeah. Then he would have. Then he'd have the old the hair comb back with the ponytail and everything, and then when he'd work out, he'd do like one set of partial reps. How was the workout? It was great. It was great. Of course, Jimmy had the old pictures up with Jesus Christ. He used to run a gym like up where he was from, up in the region. And he was born in Niles, Illinois, and he took me to his house one time when we was going somewhere, and his whole garage was into a gym, and it was nothing but pictures of handsome Jimmy here, handsome Jimmy there, Jimmy stuff on the wall, pictures of him starting out, pictures of him wrestling with Dick the Bruiser, pictures of him when he was WWF tag team champions, him and Luscious Johnny. So Jimmy was a hell of a storyteller. Quiet as shit.
Did he own Hoffmeister Gym in Indianapolis?
Who?
Oh
Jimmy?
God, damn, dude.
Why would the hell?
What are you talking about?
Well, why in the hell would he own Hoffmeister Gym in
I don't know,
Indianapolis?
because I thought you said he just had pictures up on the wall everywhere.
At his gym, at his house in Niles, Illinois, is what I
can't own another gym. It's impossible to own.
Oh
gym.
my God! No, what it is? No, you don't listen to nothing I say. Then you
he had pictures up. But he can't own Hoffmeister's Gym? That's impossible to do?
Oh, yeah. Why would he own Fred Hoffmeister's
Why not? Why do
gym?
any wrestlers own other shit? You don't think The Rock owns other stuff? He owns a fucking football league, for crying out loud. I mean, get with it, you geek. My God.
Don't steal my goddamn life.
I'm a wrestler. I can't own anything else. I can't own another business because I'm a wrestler.
Hey, there's a picture from Bedford, Indiana.
Is it? I'm getting ready to pull it up here. So
Okay.
keep talking about Jimmy somehow.
Okay.
So
Handsome Jimmy just had the big lat spread. He was over.
So here's what I don't really know.
Uh-huh.
How did you ever actually, now you always say Hoffmeister Jim story.
Yeah.
But how did you actually ever meet him to talk to him? Was it actually at the gym that you saw him and said, hey, I'm Rip Rogers, I'm a wrestler? Was it with Dick the Bruiser's group? How did you ever actually encounter him in the first place?
First time, I can't remember.
No,
I can't remember because I was working shows for Bruiser and he was coming in then when it was so Felicia was stripping in town, so she always picked up Handsome and he stayed with Felicia LeMay, that Big Mama.
So the same person as Big Mama?
Yeah. Because she had the gimmick when she was Felicia, and then now she's a star in her own right, Felicia, baby.
But that's not that's
Big
Angel.
Mama. Oh no, Angel had the good job. She was the nurse.
Was she around back then?
No,
No.
Felicia was a hot commodity. She had the big snake, but just a little bitty ace, the nice boot, and Handsome was just cha. He was over.
So you hanging out with Boogie at Hoffmeister's like me hanging out with you at Crossroads. It
Right.
sounds like
Uh-huh.
about the same.
Yeah, except you were a whole lot taller.
No, I don't think it would have been unreasonable. You had a bunch of pictures up at well, you might not have put them up, but yet there were a bunch of pictures of you up at Crossroads. I don't think it would be an unreasonable question for people, since you were there from morning until you left to OVW or Atlanta, for somebody to say, hey, Rip, do you own this gym? I don't think it would be an unreasonable question.
Well, I'll give you no. That's
Look at there.
okay.
There we go. Look at that. I just got pulled up.
And Handsome had the gimmick tattoo on the big arm there. Cha.
That is awesome.
That was in Bedford, Indiana. I got my Union City Valhalla Health Spa on, where I used to train when I was a school teacher at Union City and a football coach at Union City, Indiana. God, I'm trying to think the guy's gym. He had his own gym there. It was great. And he worked he was a linesman. I ran around with his kid, Craig Bryant was his name. And he was a hotshot bodybuilder, and we had good times. And I was there every day training.
So were you guys? You are in Bedford. Are you guys wrestling here? Is he wrestling? You're wrestling? Do you drive in here?
Yeah. This was in Bedford, Indiana.
That's awesome. Who did you wrestle as right there? Like
I was good old Mark Shira. Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
I was just your basic, boring
Can't-
Mark Shira.
I can't believe you ever changed that look. All right, let's see. I'm sure I'll get in the chat. Everybody will be ripping me, saying I'm mean to Rip and all this kind of stuff because he's such.
Hey, what John Tucker?
He's such a baby face. Oh,
John Tucker said should he be embarrassed because he farted?
Should I be embarrassed to fart in the gym doing
No, wait a minute now. If you're doing knee pull-ins and to fart, that's natural. So you should blow them motherfuckers out. But the rest of the stuff, if you're doing twist or crunches, I guess crunch would be okay. But if you're doing the actual knee pull-ins on the bench, that's a good time. And then when you're doing it, you look around and say, "Hey, who farted?" and put the heat on somebody else. So that's a good one.
Thanks, John Tucker. John Tucker is not only in Green Rip, but he also does super chat questions. It doesn't get any better than that, man.
No, but and especially when they're good fart questions.
Oh yeah,
like at the gym.
Yep. Medium 5 said, "Whatever you need, Rip. Whatever you need."
I need a wank, but I need a younger, more attractive man. Shave the hair on your fingers.
That is that's not Brian Cage. Never mind. Who was the first wrestler to wear the fanny pack, Rip? Do you know?
I don't know, but as soon as I saw one, I got one. That's for damn sure. And I still got them. And I got so many keys and stuff in there. The keys is like disintegrating it and making holes in it and everything. So I need a new fanny pack. I need to have medium 5 to take up a collection.
He said, "Whatever you need, man. He's got you covered." That's what he was talking about when he said, "Whatever you need." That's what he was referring to.
Okay. Well, you know how my mind skips around.
Danny Cage isn't Brian Cage's dad, is it?
No, Danny Cage. You didn't listen because I said earlier, Danny Cage is Danny McDonald.
Okay, well maybe Brian Cage is Brian McDonald. Maybe his real name's Brian McDonald.
Okay, I just said no. Once I said
no, you said I didn't listen. It has nothing to do with listening. Why couldn't Brian Cage's real name be Brian McDonald? You think that all the Armstrongs are real last names are Armstrong? But they all went with Armstrong.
Well, it's just like the Cormier.
Okay, so
whoa! Now you're interrupting me. All the Cormier. Leo Burke was a Cormier. The Beast was a Cormier. Rudy K and Bobby K. Now these are maritime legends. That was their real name was Cormier, but they all had different names.
Okay, well I'm talking about they all have the same name. They are Cage, like they all have Cage, but just because.
Well, a Cage is a cool name.
Okay.
Cage is a cool
name. You act like just because his real name is McDonald doesn't mean that his son couldn't be Brian. This is coming from the guy that thinks Michael Cole is Adam Cole's dad.
Isn't he?
Because they both have the last name Cole. You've always said, well, you know how Adam Cole got in, right?
Yeah, because that's his dad.
Because his dad's Michael Cole. Well, they both got the name Cole.
Well, I'm going to say, who in their right mind would give that little skinny guy a goddamn wrestling job?
Okay. Medium 5 said, "What is your Rip's PayPal email? I want to do it for forget again."
I got a PayPal, but I don't know how it works, and I don't know what it is.
Medium 5, just message me on Facebook, Von Lilas on Facebook. Send me a message, and we'll take care of it. I heard the Gang story. He had a great dream impression by Bruce Pritchard. What a letdown. Gang said he didn't do it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I remember you asked that. Gang said he didn't do it. Maybe Bruce was lying. Who knows?
No, Bruce would never tell a lie.
Bruce would never lie. Bobby Lopez said we should start smoking weed.
Oh, golly. Bruce has had a hell of a motherfucking run.
I'd say, man. Especially after we had Dr. Tom on here. And I mean, they were just kind of, basically they just hung out at wrestling until they got in. And
yeah, they were like
Bruce has never.
They worked in the office there for Paul Bosch in Houston.
Bruce never did wrestle.
Yeah, right. So he just Johnny aced all of his way into a fantastic life, living the fucking dream, being a star, being a major player, and everything. God damn, what a life he's had. He whiz.
Yeah, I don't think too many people probably take that route, do they? Unless getting in the business and never really wrestling or refereeing or managing like in the beginning. I don't even think Bruce did anything on TV until he was Brother Love. I don't think. Not that I remember hearing or Dr. Tom saying when he was on here. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, we used to go to Houston when Bill Watts ran it, and he ran Houston, where Houston used to be an entity of its own. It was such a good wrestling town, and Paul Bosch was the very best payoff man in the wrestling business. So if you could ever work Houston, you sure as hell wanted to go there, because he was easy on the head, and he loved his wrestling. He loved Houston, and it was awesome to work there. The first time I worked with Magnum TA in that town, I probably told the story, but what the hell, is I worked with Magnum TA, and Bill Watts always went to Houston. So it was Magnum TA's the first time Magnum was going to be groomed to be a star. And so I worked with him underneath match, and he beat me with the belly to belly. And you have the rules that you shouldn't supposed to do. I grabbed the microphone because I was an underneath match, challenged his ass to get back there. He was lucky, and he belly to belled me again. Now I'm half fucking dead. And now the fans are really, all the hot girls are coming up to him and touching him. And Magnum was looking like Magnum TA, the old TV show. He was jacked to the gills. Here it was, his first night in Houston, which is the major market. And they did their own TV show for the house show from Channel 39 there. So I call him back again. So he comes in again. I get on him, and the son of a bitch beats me the third time again. Now, I can get fired. I can get suspended for breaking the goddamn fucking rules. But Bill Watts come back with a big smile on his face. He said, "You really got him over." And Bill Watts double paid me, bonused me. So that helped with any kind of bonding I had with Bill Watts, because I was having no ego and was going to, because I knew they had great plans for Magnum TA. And Magnum was a major superstar working for Bill Watts. And that was the first time he got the big break.
Fantastic. Any Don Morocco stories, Rip?
I was around Don Morocco. I went in to work the WWF for Vince Sr. in Allentown and at the Philadelphia Arena. And Don Morocco, he was so charismatic. I just sat like a little kid, and he could tell that I goddamn idolized him. And I didn't see him again till he come in. I was working for Stu Hart in Calgary in 1988. And he come in, and I saw him, and I started telling him this story. He just started laughing. He goes, "You look different then." I said, "Well, I had black hair. What the hell?" Right now I was just freak Rip Rogers with the blonde hair and the black beard. But I idolized Don Morocco at the time. He was such a great heel, but then if you saw him be babyface, you could see him. He was just a great worker. And he was actually from Hawaii, and he quit the wrestling business because he could make more money working the docks there or something like that, because he loved Hawaii. He hated cold weather, but he was just jacked to the gills. And I could just sit there now and just think, wow, I just respected him so much. He was just at the top of my list, the great Don Morocco. However we got there, whatever.
It was a question asked in the chat.
Okay. You got to remember, I can't, even though I'm looking at it, I can't really see.
Well, you can hear though, right? I mean, I read you the question.
Well, a while ago, I was telling you stuff, and you said
but I don't listen to you.
Oh, okay. I
feed you the questions, and then I quit listening.
Okay.
I've heard all this shit before.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. I haven't really heard you talk about Don Morocco much.
Well, we hadn't had a question.
I know.
About
Yeah. So Medium 5, I just put PayPal in there. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that out loud on YouTube if we get blocked or banned or anything like that. But Rip doesn't really have one, doesn't know how it works, doesn't do all that stuff. So anything that you do want to put in there, I'm here, right here. Rip is witnessing. 100%. We'll go to Rip. We'll figure it out. But I just put it in the chat, and we can figure that stuff out. So thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. What else do we got here? Strongest man ever you saw in the gym, Rip. You know anybody? It doesn't necessarily have to be a wrestler. Actually, it says strongest wrestler Rip saw in the gym.
Okay, we talking about a professional wrestler or just a wrestler?
Assuming that probably professional wrestler, since this is a professional wrestler podcast, would be my guess.
Well, I'm going to tell you the other wrestler first.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, my buddy Tom Zupancic, who was with the
Colts,
the Colts for 25 years until he made an offhanded remark, and all of a sudden he was canceled. He said, "Fuck you, stick this up your ass. I'm quitting." So anyway, when Tom Zupancic was 21 and 22 years old, we'd be at Hoffmeister's gym, and every workout.
Valiant owned.
Huh?
When the Valiant owned?
Yeah, same gym.
Every workout. Go ahead. I couldn't resist.
No, he did because he did the same workout.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, no, he did. He would do 505 for 10 on the bench press.
Oh, wow.
Now, they used to have a pad down here, and it wasn't strict contest form, but at one time, Tom held the world neck lift record, and he used to do a strength show. What he would have marks come out of the ring, and they would try and choke him out, and he would just laugh, and he would expand his neck, and their fingers would pop off. But he was awesome. The strongest guy I'd ever seen in my life. And Zupo, I'd always get him mad because I call him Poopo. He'd be chasing me around. But
now, did you play football with him?
Yeah.
Did he play at
UIndy? At UIndy, right. But what he was such a great, he went to Cathedral High School, and then he was like the legend where everybody in the college would come down just to watch Poopo. So I would get the chance going, Poopo, Poopo. So he'd get mad, but he loved it.
So, but Zupancic was the strength coach for the Colts. That's what he did. He was the strength coach. Right?
Then he was the director of business development there. But he was, man, he was just so strong. And his dad was a welding teacher. God, where was he at? Oh, but he was born in Hallville, which is like the poor section of Indianapolis. But Tom became a great success. And his wife was a little bodybuilder, and she was a little girl. God, I see her, but she was always running around, just idolizing Poopo.
Remember that first New Year's Eve thing McAfee did where he brought Zupo up on stage or whatever? Remember we talked to him that night? You remember that? Because
there was a video on that because I was getting on him. No, I wasn't getting on him. I was putting him over for the 500 every time he would do it. But I just said with the bounce. And he says, "Oh, you always got to say about the bounce." Well, but the thing about it is without the bounce, you couldn't have done it.
Right.
But he was just, boom, boom, boom. But he was the strongest guy I ever seen in my life. And as a matter of fact, he was a member of the 1980 Olympic team, Greco-Roman super heavyweight wrestler, Tom Zupancic. That's the one that didn't go. They didn't have the Olympics because of Afghanistan. But Tom Zupancic was a member of the Greco-Roman super heavyweight wrestling team for the United States of America in 1980.
How about that? Medium 5 said this is like watching Archie and Meathead going at it.
God, you're dating yourself on that. Archie and Meathead. Oh my God, Archie.
Who's Archie and who's Meathead? You got to be Archie, right?
I would be. No, wait a minute. Let me see.
George Jessen said the haphazard style of podcast is the best. He's saying our show's haphazard. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound real good. But we'll take it.
Well, maybe we are a hazard, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess we're sort of happy sometimes. So I guess that's short for happy.
Bobby Lopez says I call bullshit on Rip not knowing where any of his gear is. I think he's telling the truth on this one.
No, I don't have any gear. It all got
the flood and some other things that maybe happened too.
Yeah.
That we won't talk about. Shave the hair on your fingers. I don't know what that means.
Wait a minute. Now, if you've ever been with a woman that's, let's just say she's a little bit overweight and she's got hair on her fingers. Eee, I don't want that. Shave the son
I
of
don't
a
like if
bitch.
they were not overweight. I don't like hair on females' arms
yeah,
or
I don't
hands
either.
or anything.
Well, that's one thing we got in common. That's it.
The one thing.
We need to
That's
shave.
the one thing we have in common. Man, we don't like hairy women. Hairy knuckles.
Well, you know, a lot of what do you call it when I don't want to offend anybody, but like when a guy would dress up as a girl or something,
Yeah.
if he's got fat hairy fingers, you know it's not really a girl. So but what the
think so,
fuck?
huh?
I think so.
All right. I'm trying to check something out here for Medium 5. What else we got here? Stu Hart, the toughest Canadian ever? Question mark. Amanda C86. Amanda's in the house. Welcome, Amanda.
Where is it? I can't even see. Oh, there it
down
is.
there.
Okay, Stu Hart, the toughest Canadian ever. Well, Ripley, I think that he was a tough old bastard. Stu was. Yes. Okay. Yeah, he was a tough old bastard. Yeah.
Okay. Vaughn, you might have some rip gear. I don't have it, man. Vaughn, you might have some. Nope, I don't have anything. All I got of rips is a box of VHS tapes and some of these pictures that I just showed. You know, I pulled the one up of Valiant. Got some on the wall. We showed the one of Superstar Billy Graham. Got some other ones. Got a bunch more tapes I still got to put out. So plenty of matches on there, though. Oh my God, Vaughn, haven't you watched All in the Family? Yeah, I've watched it. I've watched it. I know who you're talking about. I know
What's
exactly.
so funny is Archie Bunker. He wasn't even old when he did that. He just looked old. He was a hell of an actor. And then what was his wife's name? Oh God, she would sing. Oh, what a voice she had. But Carol O'Connor, what an actor he was. He was over with me. Archie.
Well, that's what's funny. You know, I was telling you I watched the Three's Company, so I just finished.
Oh yeah, Jack Tripper.
I just watched all of them, so I'm done with.
Really?
I'm done with all of them. So I'm on in Facebook. I follow this like Three's Company page.
Uh-huh.
And you remember the Ropers, the first?
Oh yeah,
the first landlords or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So they had a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Roper, and I looked it up, so I believe it's true because I know he was around this age. Mrs. Roper at the time of this picture was 47, and Mr. Roper was like 52, and they look like they're like 70. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they looked so much older back then.
Yeah, you're right on that.
Like I was like Mr. Roper's age, pretty much.
Mhm.
You know, 2 years. Crazy. Anyway, John Tucker in Green said Shane Douglas gave Pez a shout out the other day for being a legit tough guy.
Okay,
That's cool.
well, Pez, he was a Kentucky State powerlifting champion. He dabbled with that, and he was the heavyweight wrestler at University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and his teammate was George Weingroff, who was like the 185 or 189 pound, whatever it was back then, and that was the great Saul Weingroff's son, George Weingroff, and he was actually the amateur wrestling coach at the Indiana School for the Blind in the 70s before, and he became one of the business partners at ICW.
Hey, look, you just popped in.
Al Robinson
Gentlemen.
said gentlemen. Al always says gentlemen.
Big Al, thanks for the T-shirt purchase last week. Appreciate that.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you very much, Al.
We might have told you that last week, but if we did, we're going to.
If not, we're just going to tell you again.
We'll tell you again. We might tell you again next week. Who knows?
I won't remember. What the hell, right?
Medium 5, he said it's sent. It's not through yet, so I'll keep looking here. Coach V40 at yahoo.com. I'll even show Rip here. He won't know what I'm talking about. Coach V40 at yahoo.com or yeah, whatever.
Medium 5 was asking me about the Taco Bell. Now, I love Taco Bell, and I can eat Taco Bell every day, but I like the $5 box. And then all of a sudden, the $5 box is what everybody buys, so they take that sumbitch out of there all the time. So they make you buy about $10. So I say, no, fuck you, Taco Bell. If there ain't no $5 box, then I ain't going in there. I just won't do it. Hell no.
you go there and tell them that every time, or do you tell them the reason you're not? You go in there just to tell them this is why I'm not coming.
No, I come in there and look, because what'll happen, you'll look up there and all of a sudden they'll have where the $5 box is supposed to be. It won't be up there. I said, you got the $5 box? Oh no, we took it down Monday. Oh, well, the only reason I come in here is to get a $5 box. So I'm hot. So I leave all the time I'm hungry. So fuck you, Taco Bell.
Opinion Haver, who, remember, he ripped the Outrunners that one day. Remember, he ripped them. He said they had a terrible match, all that good stuff. The legendary Outrunners won a match last night, he said.
Well, that could kill their career.
Hey, not almost won. They won.
Well, now they're going to be out of there then. You need to lose all the time. Ha, 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 you lost again. And they can just spin to win and be over.
Well, a couple weeks ago or last week, they lost to Hook 2-on-1. Little skinny Hook beat them 2-on-1.
No.
Yes.
No. Well,
they were tweeting they were at an unfair advantage because it was 2-on-1. and Hook got to stay out there the whole time, and they had to tag in and out.
Well, they could have got tired getting in and out with different strategies.
They had to tag in and out, and Hook could just stay in there the whole time.
You know what's so funny? Now Hook's is Taz's son.
Yes,
it would be like
they got the same last name. Yeah, Hook and Taz. Of course, they're son and father.
Yeah. Okay, but he should try and he works like his father, sort of, but he should be a failure because his dad was the human suplex machine. So he should be trying to work like them, and he need to go on a slump and get his ass beat all the time. Because hell, it looks like he weighs about 170 in parentheses, if that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden his dad's got to teach him this. And his dad realizes, hell, there's only one human suplex machine, no matter what. So he needs to teach him a different style of wrestling, because right now he's a smaller guy, and you don't buy that shit. So, and if you think they can beat two guys out and runners, Turbo and Floyd, but anyway,
he did. Hook took him. He took him. Yeah, I saw a clip. I think Turbo and Floyd tweeted out. So I guess when they won the match last night or whenever it was, they stole another tag team's finishing move, and he said, "We've been doing that move since the Sportatorium days," or something like that. That's what Truth Magnum said in the back, like
Sportatorium days.
Yeah, he's like, "We didn't steal that move. We've been doing that move for almost forever, back in the Sportatorium days," or something.
Yeah, I worked in the Sportatorium 41 years ago.
That's what he was saying, though. Yeah, that's what he said.
That's good.
We've been doing that since then.
That's good. They know their history. They know what the hell's up.
They're hilarious. Even if Opinion Haver doesn't like him, I love him. Buckshot Kid, is he ripping on us right now?
He is. So I wouldn't even put it over.
What the fuck? What's he talking about? When did you two realize you're not making the big time? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Is he turning heel on us right now?
Well, he's the wrong person to turn heel on, because I'll double fucking heel you and fuck you.
Well, let's make sure he's turning on us first. Okay. I don't know. What did we do to Buckshot Kid for it to piss him off? Do you know?
I don't know, but how many guys ran developmental towns for WCW? That was a wrestler.
Maybe he's meaning our podcast. Maybe he's talking about our show. We're not big time show. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
Oh, I don't know, but I would.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll give him a chance to redeem himself before we blister him here. Let's see, George Jetson. Wait a second. Hold on. We got one of these things we got to look at. Bull digging, baby. Hey, Rip, did you ever wrestle in a ring surrounded by water, like you can see in some shows from the 50s and 60s, even later?
No, I never did that. Now, did you swim out to the thing, or did you go over the bridge? I've seen some of those old things where they would, like, you'd do that, and then you would leave. It'd be like where you'd fight to the death on the like in the movies and stuff like that. That was a pretty cool idea.
He said, "Sorry for a little off topic. Hook Popeye, haha." So never in a moat. Aren't those called moats? Like if you
Well, the castle's surrounded by a moat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that'd be a good moat.
So no
But
water
but
surroundings.
a lot of times they would take you out to an island like on the boat and they'd drop you off. Then they'd come pick the winner up. That was always exciting.
Thanks, Bull Digging. Sorry, Rip didn't do it, but we appreciate the super chat question there. It was nice. He follows up, said, I saw a movie from the 60s which plays during World War II where the wrestling ring is built in the middle of a pool of a large swimming hall. Now, I went to a show at a strip club outdoors where it was surrounded by, or there was a pool up
was that in
off
Louisville?
the deck.
It was on this.
It was in Indiana.
Okay.
Down there though, like New Albany.
Right.
And I remember, I think it was Package that took
Chris Sharp.
He did something into the pool. Like he did, I don't know.
The WWE referee at NXT.
Yeah, but he was wrestling
Sharp.
this night. He was doing he was getting all this shit in, high flying, everything.
What's so funny is Package is a referee and he's a better worker than most of the fucking wrestlers.
Yeah.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he did something in the pool. I can't remember exactly what happened, but so yeah, I guess I was there surrounded by water of sorts, kind of. It was a strip club. It's cool.
Imagine that.
Medium 5 says that's like asking a stripper, so when did you realize your body looks like Jell-O in a Ziploc bag? Referring to Buckshot Kid's bashing. Buckshot Kid came back and said WWE. I don't know what that means, but don't know, man. Well, like I said, we'll let him redeem himself, and then we'll heal on him. But as of right now, we got more important things to do, Rip. We got a guest in the house. He's on here live.
Are we? Let me see. It's 11:56. I can see a little. Is it
when you're supposed to introduce him? Well, I'm trying to find the new back
well,
screen.
there's the legendary Danny McDonald, Danny Cage, because he's got a cool name like Cage. And I started
Brian Cage's dad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's such a cool fucking name. It's a name that's what are you doing?
You talk, you introduce. I'm doing the thing, man.
Well,
Come on.
Look at Danny.
There it is, right there.
There. Oh, okay. That's just trying to do.
Yeah.
Rip Rogers and Von Live live or whatever. We got the owner of the Monster Factory, the legendary Danny Cage, is right here live on Wrestling with Rip Rogers. He's due by popular fucking demand because I fucking demanded it. And he said, okay.
And you're popular.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but what the hell? You know,
What's
I got
up,
stuff and
you guys can hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you talk real loud? Because most of the time you can't hardly hear me because I'm old, but I can't hear myself. But
well, most of the time you can't hear you because you don't talk in the microphone.
Well, that's too.
Typically,
Rip has that problem. Yep.
Well, I think both you guys are just ganging up on me because I'm 70 years old. I'm no longer in the prime of life.
Why not? Yeah, you are. Always
You're
in the
damn prime, Rip. You're in your prime.
I'm in my prime, baby.
I've known Rip my entire life, and every year he says, "How old are you?" And I tell him, and no matter what the age is, he's prime alive, prime alive, baby, prime alive,
prime alive. We ain't croaked.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on today. Appreciate it.
I'm giving you a hand, baby.
No problem, baby. I'm tapping out to being sick, but I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you guys.
I just want you to talk, put yourself over, sell anything you want to sell, talk about your school, about its history, about some of the guys you've trained, all the great guys that's coming out of there, and the stuff you do on I don't know if it's Netflix, because I ain't a technology guy, as you can see, but I see stuff with your school all the time.
Yeah, we're on Apple TV.
Okay, Apple TV, that's what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's been wild. It's been wild the last couple of weeks and all, just because like being sick, and then I got a couple other projects cooking. So like last night was probably the only time I fell asleep before midnight, because you know me, Rip, I don't sleep at all. I sleep maybe an hour or two a night, and then I do some stuff, and then I get like a nap or an hour here or there. But I don't sleep for more than 4 hours a night. But last night I slept for 10 hours for the first time in years, and I needed it. But like right now I am sweating the heat, everything's off, but like I'm sweating, and I just feel like shit. So,
but he's still here for you, Rip. He slept 10 hours just for you. Hey, just get off here whenever you want, man. We can quit this whenever you want. Typically,
man,
we go
like, shoot some questions, man. Like I'm interactive. I don't need to just plug shit. Just ask some questions, and
Rip.
Well,
you just tell him to tell his whole life story.
I know. What I'm saying is what happens is I start fucking talking and then nothing gets done. So Danny, get yourself.
Rip, me and you are boys, so like I'll just shut your shit down when you start talking too much. You know, that's what boys do.
I'm a girl, so what the hell?
Right.
Now wait a minute. I'm an effeminate guy, but get yourself over, plug what you want,
we'll ask him some questions. Rip's only talked to one guest ever, and that was Ron DeShane. That's the only guest. It was like, and Dave Marquez, I guess. Rip's only talked to 2 guests ever.
I'm not a big talker.
Usually he just sits here.
I just sit here and look.
So give us the we were talking about the history of the Monster Factory earlier today before we came on here.
Yep.
Do you know I'm sure you know the history.
Yeah.
Where it started and then leading up to how you got it. How did you get a hold of the Monster Factory?
So it's pretty wild story, and it starts with Larry Sharpe just showing up to watch Red Berry wrestle back in the day. And Larry and his dad then went to a diner when Larry was like 10 years old and saw Red Berry and went up to him for an autograph. And he told Red Berry that he wanted to be a wrestler. Red Berry said, okay, go get some amateur experience and we'll come and find you. Larry's senior year in high school, he's wrestling for Paulsboro High School. Red Berry and Gorilla Monsoon walk in, sit down in the crowd, and everyone knew who they were because Paulsboro was like the area where a lot of wrestlers lived and all, because it was central to flying out to New York and Philly and all that. So he went, met with them afterwards. They said, go to college. We'll train you after college. He goes to college. He's been communicating with Red Berry via, old school snail mail. And Larry goes and visits him when he thinks he's ready to get trained. And someone's there and is just like, Red Berry passed away a couple months ago.
God.
But we'll get you in touch with somebody else. And Gorilla Monsoon reached out to him, started training him, then handed him off to Fuji. Fuji started training him. Then fast forward to after Larry started learning, Larry then started to help out with people that he saw on the road that were getting treated like shit. One of them being Tony Atlas. He didn't like how Tony Atlas being treated, because what they would do is, like, Tony was a legit shooter. He was a badass in high school, wrestler, state champion. And the people that trained him would blow him up and then just beat the shit out of him. And Larry didn't like that, so Larry took him under his wing. Actually helped out with Kevin Von Erich, too, as well. It was cool. Before Larry passed away, I got Kevin and Larry on the phone together with each other, and they were talking about old times. But fast forward now to 1983, and Buddy Rogers' son wants to get into pro wrestling, and Buddy Rogers reaches out to Larry because he liked the way he trained people and said, I want to open a wrestling school with you, and you're going to run it. You're going to do everything. I'm just going to be here. And basically, Larry said that was like Babe Ruth coming to you and being like, can you teach my son to hit?
Wow.
Yeah.
And Larry, and then it turns out, here's a great story. It's on so many different podcasts and different things, like little snippets from Larry saying this, but Larry said, like, Buddy Rogers was like, the kid don't want to learn wrestling. If you took an axe, chopped them down right down the middle, a barbell would fall out one side and a vagina would fall out the other. That's the only two things on this kid's brain, nothing to do with wrestling. He just used a different word for vagina, of course. And then from then on, Larry got the Monster Factory handed off to him. He started training people by himself. Probably about 85 or so. It was right around when Bam Bam came in. And at the time, it was just in the airport hangar in Mount Holly. Then it moved to Paulsboro for a little bit again. Then it moved to the marketplace in Clementon. That's where I went for my tryout back in 94. Then after that, man, it was some of the carniest shit ever, but I love Larry for it. So our building back in 96 or 97 was closing down. It was a flea market. So instead of Larry like finding a new building, Larry came up with a great idea. Is like, well, I'm looking around at all these buildings that are for rent, and some have been for rent for 2 years, 3 years. He goes, I just went up to the people that were renting the buildings for the longest and been like, hey, you're not getting rent. Could we rent it for you? We'll pay the fire insurance. And if anybody wants to move in, we'll leave. So that's what Larry would do. Like, he'd be in one place for 6 months, go to another. One place for a year, go to another. So like sometimes like me and Cliff Compton would show up sometimes and there'd be nobody in the parking lot and be like, what the hell's going on? And next thing you know, like a U-Haul would pull up, like, come on, we're moving. And then we'd go to the next building. It was wild. Like Cliffy will tell you, Rip, like training wasn't the way it is now for us. Like we had no schedule. It was like you showed up. You didn't. Sometimes we would show up and there'd be no trainees. Like it would just be me or me and Cliff or me and 3 other people, or just me alone. And you would just sit there and figure out drills to do by yourself to train. And that's when like me, Cliff, Damian Priest, Mike Reed, QT Marshall, all these people would sit around and be like, man, if I owned a school, I'd do it this way. And then in 2010, I bumped into Larry at another wrestling school. And then Larry was like, hey, let's make this a monster factory. And he looks at me and I was like, I got nothing to do with this, dude. I just stopped by to help out. And he's like, well, if they want this to be a monster factory, you have to have everything to do with it because I trust you. And then we started doing it. And then those other guys didn't even want any part of it. They were like, no, we want to do our own thing. So it was just me and Larry. And, you know, that's how everything started. Like in 2011, when I bought the name from him, they were already a monster factory still running out of another building. So they kept all the students. They kept all the students, all the ring. They kept everything. All I got was the name, and I started over at scratch in 2011. And by 2013, I had my first student signed, who's now Steve Macklin, wrestling at Impact. Then after that, you know, it just started picking up. And then it led to a TV show and all that stuff. And it's wild, man. It's been a crazy ride.
That's cool. How far apart were you distance-wise when you took over yours?
When I started, like, I fell in love with wrestling back in probably 83 is when I decided like that was going to be my shit. Like this was going to be my job. And like 85 or 86 is when I saw the newspaper articles. It's only 25 minutes away from me. So I was just like, every day I would just like, if I could find a way to get by there or near there, like I would have my parents or somebody drive by. They didn't know why, but I would just be like, I just want to go by the marketplace and go look at it and go by the marketplace. And then finally, like, when I got my tryout, I can still remember the tryout vividly. Everything about it. The Headbangers actually put me through my tryout. This was back when it was just Glenn and Chaz, you know, 2 kids from New Jersey. They weren't even the Headbangers yet. They weren't the, you know, the Nuns or whatever the fuck gimmick they got. But they were doing that. And it was one of those things where like, I saw them on TV a couple months later. I was like, wow, there was the guys that put me through my tryout. So yeah, awesome. It's been a journey, man.
I guess what I was trying to ask is when you took over and bought the name, you said they still had their building and ring and stuff like that. Were you guys close together distance-wise at that time? Yeah. Like you were in competition then? Or did they close after that?
No, they're still going. I don't care. I don't even really know, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're still running a wrestling school. I like when I say this, like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't ever, Rip will tell you, like, I don't get involved with shit. Like, if there's some bad stuff happening, I'll go and, you know, I'll get involved and be like, yo, let's stop this bad shit. But if people are just arguing over stuff or somebody's doing stuff, I don't know. I don't know what's anything's going on. But there's wrestling schools around. In Jersey, man, there's a wrestling school. Yeah. If you can't find a wrestling school in Jersey, then you ain't looking. And that's why, like, I made it so cheap for us. Like, it makes sense for me to make it so cheap. Like, our school is only $999. That's it. And then if you want to stay, it's $260 a year. Other schools are like $5,000 to $10,000 for a 12-week program. And as someone who's struggled with finances as much as I have, and people that I know attract wrestling, I just think it's doing a disservice to them to charge that much for them. And they're not really getting the full effect of it because they're just getting like an introductory course. Like, because pro wrestling, and Rip and everybody will tell you, like, it's a long learning process. And that's the way I set it up. Because Rip will tell you, when you're out on the road, back in the day, this is how I got my system down. And I talked to Larry about it, and he just goes, holy shit, you're a genius. But I was telling him, I was like, here's my system. I'm going to teach the basic fundamentals over and over and over again so they can't get it wrong. Then what I'm going to do is let them do their own thing when I leave. When I leave, I'd go like this. As long as you guys are doing something wrestling related, I don't give a shit. Be productive. Don't bellyache. Don't do anything. If I hear anything on the camera about you crying, complaining about booking, I won't let you do this. But I let these guys cook at the Monster Factory. Sometimes I leave at 10 or 11. They're there till 1 or 2. Just talking about wrestling, going over wrestling, the way you used to learn on the road. You used to learn on the road by Larry would set up the ring with Fuji. Fuji would give Larry about an hour to a half hour in the ring to work on some stuff, go over some stuff. Then they'd be on the outside talking about stuff. That's how you learn. You don't learn by me giving you all the answers. Like, here's what I did in WrestleMania. No, that doesn't work for you. That's what works for me. My job is to give you the tools to figure out your own shit. That's what a lot of wrestling schools don't get. A lot of wrestling schools, they want to give you all the answers so then they can go to, like, there's no student that's going to go, I learned that move from Dan. I learned that hold from Dan. But they'll tell you, I learned to show up on time. I learned to be a good person. I learned to put my work in. I learned to network. I learned to get my everything I'm supposed to have in my bag and be done and ready to go. And no questions asked, whatever you need from me. Other schools don't teach that. Other schools are just like, here, let's do some cool moves and holds that anybody could learn on YouTube. I tell everybody, if you just want to do that, save yourself money, get a ring, a trampoline, go have fun. Because putting up with pro wrestling and all that goes with it is a tough thing. That's part of the pro wrestling process. That's the way I do my training, the way I do. That's why it's an open door. And guess what? Sometimes people dip out for 4 or 5 months. You text me and say, hey, I'm ready to come back. Cool. We're good. You tell me what's going on. I'm always there for my kids. I'm not going to give them a hard time, but it hasn't always been like that. This was like, I was old school. I was broken in the 90s. Plus I was an amateur wrestler in the 80s and 90s. So I've been through shit. So, you know, there was that bully mentality. There was that, you got to pay your dues. You're puking. You're going to, and then I was like, what am I doing? Like the real athletes are sticking around. Now I'm losing the ones that maybe needed that lifeline, that needed that help. So that's why I changed everything up probably around 2013 or 14. I started to really get to be like, all right, I'm losing students that I shouldn't be. I'm getting issues going on I shouldn't be. So that's why, like, that's probably my biggest tweak to my training has been not being so much like I'm about to throw you out. It's pretty much like, all right, how can I save you as a student? How can I save you from yourself? Because it's a bad business, man. It is. And that's what I'm trying to change. And I always tell everybody, I don't think wrestling has ever had a problem with good wrestlers. I think we had a problem with a bunch of people who are good wrestlers also being good people. And that's what I try to do is make sure, like, the ones that are getting in, like, I am protecting the business. I'm protecting it for the good people. You know what I mean? Like, I want the good people in wrestling. And good people means the ones looking out for people, not cutting each other off, not doing this, not doing that, not being, you know, a piece of shit. And it's tough in wrestling because there's a lot of people that they just want the money. And I just make it so money has no use here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Your money means nothing to me because I've been poor before and I'll be poor again. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you've had Rip come out a couple times, so you know how Rip is. But
yeah,
Rip sounds a lot like you, man. Basics, fundamentals. I mean, that's what you preached and preached and preached always.
Well, that's like in training. My classes, when a guy would come in, they're puking within 10 minutes. But it's not I'm trying to make them puke.
Right.
We start out chaining. Whistle blows, change partners, this and that, go to heat on each body part. You're doing this for 2 straight hours.
Yep.
And a normal person.
I got to get to some of your drills, Rip. That just reminded me. I got to get to the changing partners drills on the working heat and stuff like that and body parts. Thank you for reminding me that. I'm actually gonna in my other phone. I'm gonna put that shit in here.
Yeah, when you do that stuff, you get in such great ring shape because I don't want to give you bumps because you're going to use up your bump card.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's
That
why all them guys in AEW are getting hurt, or like CM Punk got hurt, whatever, because he's over 40 now, and he's not wrestling every day, so
Yep.
he's not taking an arm drag every day
Yep.
to be in shape, to take a slam every day.
Yeah,
to
there's
take a
reasons.
back.
There's reasons Tom Brady still steps back and throws those passes every day. You got to get those reps in, and if you don't get those reps in, then you're on the injured reserve, and that's what happens.
That's right. You have to get your reps in. So when guys say I'm training every day, I said, I don't give a fuck if you look like Mr. Universe.
Yep.
It's a plus, but you need to get in that ring.
Yep.
And it's like when you're getting in there once, twice a week, that ain't going to cut it. You
Nope.
got to get in there and work and get that body in bump shape and stay there. Because if you have an injury and be out for 3 weeks and didn't get in the ring, you get slammed one time, you couldn't move the next.
Yep. And then not only that, someone's got your spot. You got to keep up on this stuff. You there? You froze up, brother. All right. You guys are just frozen here. I'm going to sit here for a couple minutes and then.
Okay.
Gotcha. You just came in and out.
I can see you from you're moving up. Okay. Danny's back. I think, can you hear me,
Yep.
Danny?
Yeah, I got
okay.
you, brother.
Okay. He's back.
I'm going to go plug this in.
Okay. I think we're here at Lila Studios. I might have made some kind of production mistake since I don't know how to do anything. But I used to ride with King Kong Bundy. We used to ride together a lot in Mid-South in 1983. And he would always talk about Larry, and he'd talk about the Monster Factory. And Bundy was Chris Pallies.
Yep.
And I told him, I said, you're always in a fucking bad mood.
Right?
Which he always was. I said, the only time his lip would start quivering when he'd talk about getting a big old fat pizza. And, but as far as women, let's go get a pie, or
Larry would always say that, like, he was the grumpiest man ever. Like, if it was sunny out, you'd be like,
yes,
man, it's gorgeous out. He'd be like, yeah, but the flowers need water. This is bullshit.
I don't think Bundy was happy unless he was bitching about something.
Yeah.
But he was always talking about Larry, always talking about the Monster Factory.
Another funny thing is Bundy telling Larry, he goes, you really didn't train King Kong Bundy. I became King Kong Bundy later. So you just trained Chris. And Larry just goes, what in the fuck are you talking about? But it was Chris trying to be like, hey, you didn't make King Kong Bundy. I made myself. But that was always the joke. Larry's like, you can't have him up there. You got to have him up there as Chris from high school or from college.
Oh, God.
They used to wrestle in high school and college together, Larry and him.
God. As Ernie would say, big fat Bundy, don't just sit there like a box. You're dumbing yourself. You're dumbing yourself out of business, you big fat Bundy, you big fat turd. That would be Ernie Ladd talking. Jesus fucking Christ. But in 86, I was working for Memphis, and that was when Larry came and he brought Bam Bigelow in.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd seen Bam Bam Bigelow, and I said, man, this guy's athletic as hell. I said, he's green as grass. Yeah. I said, now 3 years from now, he gets 1,000 matches under him in a fucking in different territories, and that son of a bitch is going to be great.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Ripper.
I always loved how he had the gimmick space for the tooth, right? I said, man, don't ever get that fixed. That just looks so fucking ratchet. It's fucking awesome.
Here's a couple of funny stories. So one, Larry would always teach. This one isn't a funny story, but it's one of those stories like where coaches and trainers should listen to it. Because like everybody will always say like, oh, well, don't teach a big guy this because that's a big guy move. Listen, what Larry would do is exactly what I do. I sit and I look at somebody's athletic ability. Now you see somebody like Bundy and he's agile. You go, now let me go see if I can maybe put him on the top rope or do some stuff. Now, if he's moving around somebody not like King Kong or not like Bam Bam Bigelow, I'm not putting him on the top rope. Because like when Big Show was at the school, he was doing moonsaults. He told people he was just running the ropes. He was doing moonsaults. He was doing splashes in the corner that they called the slam dunk. Him and Glenn and Chaz were working on it. Like all the big guys, Larry loved that because he was like, how do you stand out? How do you be unique? But also he'd have to tell people like, no, that's not for you. Like, you're not ready to eat off that plate. You're not as agile as you think you are. You're just going to get hurt or hurt somebody else. So that was one of the things Larry, I would always take, and I would look at certain people in the ring. I'd be like, nah, that's not for you. And it was my way of saying like, you're not coordinated enough for that. Like, it's not because you're big. You're just not coordinated enough. And another funny story about Bam Bam, everybody talks about the tattoo on the head and all. Mm-hmm. Well, Sports Illustrated did a story on him. And when they did the story on him, Bam Bam was getting calls from the reporter, and they'd go back and forth and they'd leave messages. And the story was already out and getting ready to go. It's like all ready to go. It was done. And Bam Bam popped off and said he also got a tattoo on the bottom of his feet that said, I think the name of his finisher when he was Crusher Yurkov was like Nuclear Splash or something. And he got nuclear on one foot and splash on the other. That's what he told the guy. He was completely lying. And they're like, oh, that's amazing. We're going to come out and take pictures of it right now. And like, literally, like, we're like, we'll be out next week, you know? So Larry's like, he calls Larry and Larry's like, well, now you got to get the tattoo. He goes and gets the tattoo. They never even come. They never do anything. Oh, I still say Larry should have told the story that Larry put the guy up to and it was all rib. But I just would love to have seen the tattoo on the bottom of the feet where it said Nuclear Splash, because we've never seen that. But that's 2 tattoos that he got because of Larry. Well, actually 3, because the head was him too.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That would have been cool if he would have said he was ribbing him the whole time.
Yeah, that's when Larry was telling the story, I was like, oh, please tell me you were ribbing him. He's like, no, I wasn't. I was like, oh, change it to be you were ribbing him.
So we just had One Man Gang on last week. He's got the head tattoos. He said he got it for the storyline with the Von Erichs. Said that was it Paul Jones? Who was his
Paul Bearer?
No, it wasn't Paul Bearer. Paul Jones, I think.
Yeah,
was his manager at the time. Said, yeah, you ought to go get ones for Kerry and ones for Kevin. And so I went out and got my head tattooed. Just for the story against the feud with the Von Erichs. So I thought that was pretty wild.
That's commitment.
I'd say. So give us some names. Maybe you talked about this a little bit when I was gone. I'm trying to get the internet going here. Give us some other names. You've already name dropped a few people. Who else have you trained or had come through there?
Riddle came through here 2013, 14, 15. He was picked up in 18 by WWE. Damian Priest, same thing. QT Marshall, he was picked up by AEW. Now he's going back to AEW.
Yeah, I saw
That's the thing. Yeah, he's the man. He's not only like just a good wrestler, he's a good dude. He's a good coach. Like he's going to have a job forever. I'm just glad he finally found his spot, because like it was so frustrating, because I'm like, if this guy ain't getting hired, like who the hell else is going to get hired? You know, he's just so good. Cliff Compton was training with me when I was training. Who else was like, you know, now that we got people, you know, now that I took over, then there was Nick Camarado, who's at AEW as well. LSG, who was over at Ring of Honor. Shaheem Ali, who was over at Ring of Honor. Sloane Jacobs is started training with us when she was 14, and WWE signed her last year at age 20. And then they released her 90 days later. It was like during that 90-day period, they were doing these things of like, we'll pick someone up, and if they don't do anything within 90 days, we're letting them go. So it is what it is. But she's 21, 22 years old. She's got the world in front of her. She's got a good head on her shoulders. She's a smart kid. And then we have Felix Fernandez, one of our refs down at NXT right now, is reffing. So we got people everywhere. Again, Macklin over at Impact right now. So, and then Goldie's doing stuff with New Japan. David Goldie, one of our students, another kid that started with us at age 17, and he's 22, and he's got the world at his feet. So it's just a bunch of good people doing good shit, man.
That's awesome, man. So, do you know Damian Adams?
Yeah, Damian's my boy. I love Damian.
Trains well, I think he trains some guys, but he's known for training
Yeah.
women. So he was at OVW with me when we were with Rip. So we've had Deanna on a couple times, which is Macklin's
Yep.
wife now, I guess, or whatever. So I just saw Damien posted. You see this post on Facebook? I think it was yesterday. He had two more females. He's
Two more hotties.
two more that he's got doing some good things, I think. So yeah, he's awesome, man. So are you in pretty good touch like with WWE and AEW? Like do they
Nope.
No, you're not?
Nope.
Is there a reason you want to discuss on that or no?
Dude, like I put out a post about it the other day. Like if I email them, no. If I
no shit.
Like there's nothing. I've tried to get in. Like the only time they ever got back to me to coach in there was 2018 or 19 after Ring of Honor fired me. And that was the only reason they bought me in, I think, is because I used to be at Ring of Honor. So they bought me in, and then like that was it. And like even then, it was just me and Pat Buck, and they knew that they were going to hire Pat. So like it was funny because like we're there, and he's like, "Oh my God, they hired me." I was like, "That's freaking awesome!" Like I was literally ecstatic for him. But like I went in there, and here's the story I never told publicly. So like,
all right, breaking news, Rip.
Yeah, man. So I'm at the Performance Center. I'm just like, I'm not saying like this is an easy job, but like my job that I have is very difficult because like I have like 50 to 60 students that I oversee all the time. Plus I write all our shows, produce everything. I do it all. The kids help, but like it's everything's over, falling under my umbrella. So I'm in there and I'm looking and talking to Road Dogg about some stuff. And I'm like, hey man, do you think like there'd be an opening for me here? He's like, yeah, go in there and ask Bloom. Like now's the time. Like there's a coach leaving, you got some clout, you've done some things. And like the first thing like Bloom tells me is basically like that I don't know what I'm talking about. Like he just goes, I know it seems like an easy job that you're out of here by one, but it's a really tough job. And I just went, yep, I know, I understand. All right, cool. And he's like, and you're not even like on our radar of the to hire list. I'm like, cool. Thank you for shitting on me. I appreciate it. Cool. All right. I got it. Thank you. And then like I left and like finished out the training. And then I hustled on top of that because they fucked up my plane. They were flying me out like a day later than like, they got my hotel a day later and I was flying out a day sooner. So I was like, I asked Bloom, I was like, hey, am I supposed to be at the PC during these days? Like, no, you're off. You're off that day. I was like, all right, well, can I still hang out at the show? Cause you got the hotel for me. I'm going to go do a seminar. I went and did a seminar for Pug over at his place, took the money for that, used it for my flight and got an extra networking in and did some hustling and stuff. But again, like these are the things that like I try to teach and bestow upon people, but I'll never get that chance at WWE because they don't want nothing to do with me. Because why would they hire me when I just train all the people at my place and they take them? And AEW don't want nothing to do with me because like I don't put up with bullshit. And there's some people there that are bullshit and I won't put up with it. And like they tried to stand in the way of me and shit. Like they were like, there's so much shit. Like people don't understand. Like I don't even get involved with bullshit. Like I don't. But when I got to get involved shit, I do. When I got to get involved, I do. And, like there was a time like where someone almost got like a knock on their door because, they were trying to screw with my Apple deal. And I don't like that because I did nothing to them. Yeah. I did nothing to them. And there was no reason for them to do anything other than they just wanted to. And I don't like that. And they're still there and they still are in charge of some certain things and they shouldn't be. But yeah,
let's get into the Apple thing here. I got a little plug here set up for you. Nice. I hope it's all right there. Monster Factory TV at gmail.com. Twitter or X, I guess it is, at the Danny Cage. I think the for Monster Factory is the Monster Factory Twitter. And then it was kind of cut off down there at the bottom. So I just guessed Monster Factory because it started with Monster. But the tv.apple.com, I'm sure you can go and search for it or whatever.
Yeah, if you just put in Apple TV Monster Factory, it comes up. Also, people that are saying like, hey, I didn't watch it because I don't have it. You can get a free trial. Like, how are you going to show that you're like that's what amazed me about this. Like when I said it to certain people, especially people in pro wrestling, like, hey, I don't have a subscription or I don't have it. Number one, fuck you. Because if I'm not worth $9.99 or 3 hours of your time, fuck you. Number two, you're a worker. So figure out a fucking way, get a trial membership fucking, I don't care if you got to go break into a neighbor's house, fucking go on their Apple TV, figure fucking something out. But to say like I didn't watch it because I don't have it is such bullshit. That would be like your best friend being in a movie. Oh my God, did you see my movie? I can't. I didn't get a free ticket to your fucking movie. No, go see it, bitch.
Let's put this up here one more time, just in case.
Yeah, go watch my TV show. It's really fucking good, and it won an award.
Oh, nice. So how did that come about? And we've already had, a question. Is there going to be another
No,
season
there ain't
in
going
the
to be a
works?
season 2. And if there is, it's going to be somewhere else because Apple doesn't give a fuck about wrestling. It came about by accident, and it came about also just by being a good fucking person. Is back in 2014 or 15, a photographer hit us up and wanted to take pictures of our wrestlers for people to use for like a resume. And so they came out to the school and did that. And they're like, thank you so much. I was like, no, it helps our students to network and get out there and see what it's like. Well, it turns out their friends were video production, and they said, hey, we're going to try to get a hold of some people to do these different projects. And they said, get a hold of Monster Factory. He's like, the guy we dealt with is awesome. He let us right in. No questions asked. He's awesome to deal with. Go do it. So they came out to film something in 2015. They just wanted to get something on the resume, show what they could do film-wise. So we did it. It turned out to be like a 20-minute or 16-minute little short when they said it was only going to be like 90 seconds. But it went on Vimeo. You can watch it. It's on Vimeo. It's only 16 minutes, but it has Preston Vance on it. That's another person I forgot. He's over at AEW. Preston Vance. He's in it. Nick Camarado's in it. Damian Priest is in it. There's a bunch of people in it. But that was the start of it. And then in 2017 and 18 is when that production company got bigger and bigger. And one of the people on it was Jeremiah Zagar, who is the director of Hustle with Adam Sandler, and did a bunch of really good documentaries. Like, he's a really good documentary guy from Philly. He's from the area. Well, he wanted to meet me because, number one, he didn't believe I existed. He didn't believe like there was someone who was in pro wrestling, has a wife, 2 kids, loyal, faithful, isn't a mess, and is a good person. So he came out to meet me. He was at our show. We went out to dinner afterwards, went to a bar, and he just goes, so what do you think? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, do you want a TV show? And I go, yeah, but what are you doing? He goes, I think I follow you for 6 months to a year, and I put together one of the most amazing things you've ever seen. And I said, I'm in. So he goes to the bathroom, and then like the whole production team's there. Like, you have no idea who that is. I go, I have no idea. They go, just Google it. So I'm like, oh, he's at Sundance. Oh, he's at this. He's at that. He's like, this guy's in his 30s, and he doesn't even own a phone, like a smartphone. He just has like a flip phone. Like he doesn't deal with any of that shit. And I was like, oh, and they're like, yeah. So if he wants to follow you for a year, he's going to follow you for a year. Like Apple's going to, or whoever, because we didn't have a show yet.
Yeah.
But we pitched it to all these different places, and Apple came back with the best offer. And Apple was tremendous to deal with. Like, they were really supportive. I had like pretty much creative control over it, meaning like if there was anything in it I didn't like, I could take it out, and they did. If there was bad things in it, like I didn't want anything to make wrestling look bad, and I didn't want anything to make my students look bad. Now, there's people that are going to be like, yeah, but you can't protect them from the world. Listen, I'm their coach. In this world of pro wrestling, they're infants. So if I put them in a bad position, that's on me, and that's not good. A coach's job is to protect their students, their pupils, until they're ready to walk on their own and shit like that. So that's the way I approach coaching and training, and that's why I did the show. We did it. Like, if you watch it, you'll see it's nothing like any pro wrestling show you've ever seen. It's amazing. It's heartfelt. It's real. Like, there's no fake bullshit about it. They just let me go and do whatever I wanted. Like, the story told itself. Like, that's what's so amazing is, like, I told him, I was like, pro wrestling is a story. This school is a story. It'll all unfold. And it did. Like, we didn't have to make anything up. It just unfolded the way it did. So that's how that came to be.
Nice. Have you watched it, Rip?
Of course he didn't. You don't have.
I don't. You know, I don't even watch TV.
Rip, pretend it's porn. You'll find it.
There you go.
Well, yeah. I do have the.
So pretend Apple TV is porn. Just put an Apple TV Monster Factory and figure out a way to get it for free. You can work it, Rip. You can work it.
You don't realize how bad I am at this, Dan.
You'll figure it out. You're a worker,
if you would see this, me on the phone.
Let me tell you,
me on the phone is a hell of a rib. And he always thinks I'm ribbing.
You're rib. Oh, you.
Okay.
Rip. You know what you're doing. You know what you're
yeah. Okay.
So give me some Rip Rogers stories. How did you? How do you even know Rip? How did you get him to come out?
I know Rip because of Cliffy Compton.
Okay, cool.
When I got back with the Monster Factory, me and Cliff were talking all the time. Like Cliff used to sleep in my house. Rip and Cliff both slept in my house a couple times.
I used to sleep at Cliff's house.
Yeah, who hasn't?
In Louisville.
And then we did camps and seminars together, and me and Rip have always stayed in touch. We've always texted here and there. Like I love Rip. Like if I had the money and the means, like him, Les Thatcher, like they would be at my school every single weekend. Like these guys, like Dr. Tom, like Les, Dr. Tom, and Rip are like my three guys I go to. Like they're three of my favorite trainers and coaches that I've ever had to deal with. There's other people, but like they're my three go to. Like they're my guys.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We've had Dr. Tom on. We've had Les on. We've had both of them on the show.
So what do you think of me, Rip, as a coach? Let me ask you.
There you go.
Like if you want to bury me, bury me. If you don't, cool.
How would I know how you are as a coach? Because like watching a manager of any team or coach of any team in any sport, you can have them on a good day. You can see them on a bad day. You can see them on a day when you're giving people life lessons, but they don't know that. You can see when I'm obviously digging at this guy because I want some kind of reaction. I want to see how he responds to it. Does he fucking sulk like a fucking cunt?
Hey, or does you can't say that on here.
I can't say that. Oh, I did. Well, what the fuck? Or does he come back? Does he come back with, "I'll show you, motherfucker"? And Randy Orton was, "I'll show you, motherfucker," when I used to make fun of his love handles.
Yep.
So the thing about it is, we're in a very unique thing. And the problem in life is everybody loves you until you start doing better than them. Now, all of a sudden, yeah, Danny Cage. Oh, fuck that motherfucker. He's got this fucking this and that. He thinks he's fucking over this and that. And I'm sitting there laughing. WWE's had their developmental thing out for so long. I put 70 people in there that didn't have contracts. Like Serena Deeb, like Mike Mondo, like Johnny Jeter of the Spirit Squad, like Santino, like Armando Estrada, guys that come in through, and they'd start at the OVW beginners class.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, hell, after the second time I got fired, hell, if a guy was late, I'd just say, "Hey, you're late." Call them in and tell you're late, right? Then they'd get on me about my language and shit. Well, this is the way I fucking am. Excuse me. So they just fucking fired me, sent a couple of other guys down there to take my job, and I just fucking laugh and send them more fucking people. So they get hotter than fuck because I know how to fucking coach.
Yep.
When I started, I fucking did, and it was trial and error, throwing shit against the wall and see it was stacked. And I didn't go around and teach people moves. I just knew how to fucking coach because I was a real fucking football coach. So anyway,
I took a lot of my stuff from amateur wrestling. Like that's
right.
Where my coaching stuff comes from is amateur wrestling, and it fits perfectly in our building.
Just for the record, he put you over off camera, said you were great and loved being there.
No, Ripper always does. That's why that's why I also just like to hear it. Number one, I like to hear him be honest, like because like me and him, like that's our biggest downfall is our honesty and like our language.
Right.
like we are very honest and we will curse about it. But yeah, I just love Rip's honesty, man.
Well, that's like you said Steve Macklin. Was he like one of your first? Now he's married to Deanna, right?
Yep.
And remember when I had Damian
Him and
Adams?
Damian, her and Damian do the hour long. Yep.
Yeah, and I used to take him to all the things because as soon as I'd tell guys, go in here and have a match. No, there ain't no pre-planned bullshit, and let's see how long you can go. Usually it was 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then they just look at each other, right? They didn't know what the fuck to do. And then all of a sudden I said, I just shut the fuck up, and I'd let them go out there, and you'd sit back, and then you're going at the end of the thing, all of a sudden, well, this is a total bullshit fucking seminar. Now all of a sudden, holy shit.
Yep.
These guys are fucking good, and they're doing the same thing we're doing, but it's different.
Yeah,
and
then
if you can learn this,
that's one of our most viewed seminars. That seminar right now, if people want to look it up, it's up on our YouTube. You can look it up, Rip Rogers seminar, but that's on there, and I think the whole match is on there, honestly. So like they'll get to see it themselves. Deanna and Damian Adams going an hour at our place, so it was good. Yeah, I still remember that. To this day.
I had two guys at OVW this seminar. We went 90 minutes, and then I had two guys go 2 hours. Then I had the guys break it with 2 hours and 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So, and you learn pacing, you learn intensity, you learn failure, you learn that everything too smooth is motherfucking phony.
I always
I don't want a perfect backdrop.
Yep.
I want you slammed on your side. I want this to look like
wrestling. When I'm watching wrestling and I see like those awkward collisions, like that's when I'm like, that's pro wrestling. And there's ways to plan that without planning it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and there's ways to do that, which is the sell. Like you would see it all the time with Buzz Sawyer and stuff like that. And you watch people and you're like, yes, that's a collision. That is chaos, controlled chaos. And that's the best kind of wrestling to watch, is stuff like that. You see some of the stuff today and you're like, okay, that's great, but it's coming off more Circus Olay than like a fight. And that's what I think is killing pro wrestling a little bit, is it's too orchestrated, too much of repeating the same stuff. Because I always say, like, when you're wrestling, and I learned it when I got injured, I hurt my ankle years ago wrestling. And when I was wrestling, my style had to change because my ankle was jacked up. And I explained it to the students now. I was like, you can't explain when you're going to discover it, but sooner or later you discover the matrix. You're in the ring and you then start to hear the crowd differently. You then see the referee differently, your opponent differently, and you realize it's all interconnected. You're all working together and you figure out the matrix. It's literally just like that. There's no rhyme or reason. Like when Neo discovered the matrix, they didn't tell you when he would discover it, when he was the one. Same thing for pro wrestlers. Nobody knows when you're going to discover it. That's what I always tell people. The most important thing is just to get in, just be around the pro wrestling, to be around that atmosphere. The hardest part sometimes is just leaving your house and putting the key in the car. The next hardest is opening the door to the gym. Once you're in there, it all takes care of itself. So I tell everybody, you can never have an aha moment if you're never even getting a moment. You have to get these moments all the time. That's why we have so many hours of training. Like we train every single day but Monday. You can get in 3 to 4 hours every single day but Monday. And there'll still be people that only do 1 or 2 days, but they tell me they want it.
Right.
Well, it's what can you say? There's people that say, oh, they work out in the gym. I say, hey, look in the motherfucking mirror.
Here's another thing. Here's something I've learned, Rip, and I've learned this through since the students, like, you know, that they don't have to leave and stuff like that, you know, because like I look at Damian Priest. Damian Priest is someone that never wanted to work out. He hated it. He was 315 pounds. And, you know, in front of like Gerald Briscoe and other people, you know, we kind of gave him a hard time and made him accountable to himself. And he figured it out. But the thing is, those discussions happen before. You just need to have those discussions so much that eventually it sinks in. Because I'll never give up on anybody. I'm like a coach, like a teacher. Like when I coach, I don't want to lose a student. So like, it's that way to break through. So like, we've tried this, we've tried that. Well, now I'm just going to embarrass them in front of somebody and we'll try this. You know, it's just, you got to figure out what works and what sticks. Sometimes telling somebody they're a piece of shit works. Sometimes tapping them on the back and be like, no, you're not a piece of shit. And I'll tell you why. That works just as well. You just have to figure out. Not everything applies the same way. You know that, Rip. You're a coach. You deal with people all the time.
Some people need positive reinforcement. Some people need to get dug every once in a while. Yeah. Or you can just sit there and shake your head. What? And you don't have to say a word. But in the wrestling business, through your career, it's like you're in the first grade of life and all of a sudden you're graduating college.
Yeah.
You don't see same thing. Everything's different. And then finally, when you get it, you go, God damn. Now I can see the whole picture in slow motion.
Yep.
I understand it. Why did I do all that stupid shit for no reason?
Yeah.
Guys that know how to work, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They're busy absorbing the atmosphere, getting the people. I'm getting fucking goosebumps.
Right. Here. But that's everything. To me, that's everything. So they are doing something.
Right.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever
like right now, like people say they hate talking in pro wrestling. I love it because it's the only time it seems that anybody's taking any time to set anything up for me. Like, I like the talking on TV right now because now I'm just like, oh, my God, hopefully those people watching the locker room go, man, if I just did with this in my matches, I'd freaking run this Fed. Because, like, I'm watching this stuff with Cody and with Seth and with Roman, and I'm like, this is theater right now. Like, this is the stuff I love. Like, it reminds me of back in the day, Hogan and Andre, Hogan and Bundy, like the insurmountable odds. For a while, it was just like, you're cooler than me. No, I'm cooler. No, now we have like insurmountable odds, the hero's journey. It's getting back to the core. That's why I love pro wrestling. It's two things that we all do as a kid. We all wrestled and we all told stories. That's all pro wrestling is. It's as primitive as can be. It's everything that we've all ever wanted to do. It's the oldest Olympic sport there is. It's the oldest thing there is. Theater. We're telling stories. That's why pro wrestling is awesome. That we should close on that shit, right?
I love it, man. That's great.
Anybody in the wrestling business is missing a card. And we're all fucking special. When you get a bunch of old wrestlers talking, everybody gets their time. And I sit back and I learn from you. And you sit back and learn from me. And here's this other guy he's even older than us. And he's telling shit and we're going, God damn. I remember watching Buddy Rogers doing high spots against Lou Thez and against Pat O'Connor. Him going into crisscross, going 100 miles an hour. And it didn't like he was running the ropes. It looked like he was sprinting and hitting it. And it was really pushing him back. And it looked so goddamn real. And I'm going.
He probably crisscrossed and went right into an arm bar.
Oh my God. And they just knew how to work. They didn't do stupid shit like we do. A cover meant something. A kick out meant something. The heel was getting the foot on the rope, not to bury the goddamn fucking move. And you were just sitting there going, man, are these guys great? And you just watch the same old matches over and over. Then you realize the stuff you see on TV, nobody does that anymore.
Yep.
They're just busy to getting cool moves in.
Yeah,
and the heel.
I sit and talk to our students all the time. I'm like, please stop trying to be the next person on TV. Be you on TV. Try to be what you want to be. Stop trying to be what somebody else is. That's the biggest problem I see is no uniqueness, nothing, individualism, nothing. Everybody wants to blend in and be like that guy. I do that because he does it. No, that should be why you don't do it.
You're right. Yeah. That's why the Outrunners are over, baby.
Dude, they are. I love them fuckers.
I
I met
do
the
too.
one motherfucker before. The see what you do, Rip? You get me to curse more. You get me to
My
curse more.
fault.
But yeah, the one guy's yours, isn't he?
Both of them are.
Both.
Both of them are? All right, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. I met the
Now-
one.
Now the smaller one, Shiloh, Nick
Yeah, I met the
Wayne's
bigger
dad.
guy.
Yeah, Nick Wayne's dad trained Shiloh. Then
Okay.
he would train guys out in his school out in Oregon, and he would send them to me
Awesome.
in OVW.
Shiloh probably came in like 2008.
Yeah,
something
he
like that.
at least
He's been
12
around for a long time.
I think. Yeah, he waited
shorter
like
one.
17 years to get a goddamn break or something like that.
It's great,
Now-
dude.
now,
Like,
Randy-
they're must see TV to me. They're like that's where, and like here's what I would do with them, and just think about this. Now, Rip, you remember the sheep herders, right?
I used to ride with them.
All right, so they went from being the sheep herders to then the bushwhackers. We're just like-
Bushwhackers.
right?
Yeah.
So what if we took the Outrunners from being the bushwhackers now and turned them into the sheep herders?
Oh,
If we
yeah.
made them like a vicious tag team, like I just think that would be like so over. Like if I was WWE, I'd be like, I'm gonna sign them guys and I'm gonna make them a vicious tag team, and we're gonna make them maniacal and turn and do all this, and then eventually, on the back burner when they get so over, you can just babyface turn them, and then they're doing
Right.
the spinning around stuff, and boom, you got 2 for 1.
You're right. You're right on all that.
So that's
No
how
way.
I booked the shit out of that.
Now Randy was so over. I always have somebody when I'm teaching, I'm not really teaching. I'm standing back.
Right.
And I let
way I
Randy
do.
I would let Randy was always my demonstrator for years in there because he was the best guy. We were on the same page. We always kept in contact with each other. And he pretty much, after me, he finally figured out wrestling's a rib.
Yep.
And don't give a shit.
Yep.
Instead of worrying about getting his spot in, I said, just
go have fun.
just spin to win, baby. Have a good time. If
Have
they
a good
can't
time.
take the goddamn look good, train fucking hard, be unique, whatever anybody else does, don't do it. You got 1,000 things to do out there, and you know them all. So just look at the other matches, laugh, and do just the opposite.
Oh yeah, in reality, Randy's awesome in the ring.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we
They're
can't
amazing.
sit here and talk about this without me pulling this clip up here real quick, you know. Gotta show me chopping one of the Outrunners there. I mean, we can't let that opportunity pass by. Frank's Pickle Barrel asks, I think he's an East Coast guy. He says Notorious Mimi is over, so he's a super chatter for us out there. So we gotta put him over here real quick.
Yep. She was Sloane Jacobs in WWE, and now she's back to being the Notorious Mimi. But she's covered she got signed while we were filming the TV show. As we're filming the TV show, WWE gave her a tryout. Of course, they wouldn't let us film the tryout or anything else. But then she came back, and 2 weeks later, she was gone. She got the job with WWE. So, and then by the time the show came out, she was gone from WWE. So who knows?
That's wild. I didn't know they were doing the 90-day thing. Like,
Yeah,
the
it was
first
a
90 days?
thing. It was a thing like where they were basically. It was like when Vince was doing the whole house cleaning thing at NXT and really shutting shit down there and being a dick about it. And then for even they said to her, they're like, like she even says, she's like, I appreciate them saying it to me, but like, fuck you. You don't control me. Like, I'm going to wrestle no matter what. Cause they're like, we hope this doesn't like pamper your like outlook on wrestling and you have a bright future. And like in her mind, she's like, yeah, thanks for saying that, but you didn't need to. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm going to keep wrestling. That's what I love about her. Like, she had that mentality at like age 14, 15. Like, she's always had a good head on her shoulders. Like, she's gonna do great. She's gonna do great.
I mean, that was similar with Deanna. Deanna got signed. They put her in the beginner class and never let her do anything. She's like, I've already worked WWE TV against all your top people, and now you sign me and put me in the beginner class.
But that's also why they do it. They also put it there because they want to see your reaction. Now you gave them the reaction they thought you were going to give. You were upset about it. Well, cool. Now you failed that test. That's what I tried to tell her. But everything in wrestling is a test. Everybody wants.
Or do you say, "Oh yeah, they're pissed," and I don't know. Yeah, I could see.
Like,
I don't know.
Put it this way. If I have, I know she wasn't around then and she wasn't that big, but if I have a Charlotte Flair, my top heel, amazing money earner, millions of dollars a year in revenue, and Deanna's this up and coming girl coming in that maybe I'm going to put her with her. Well, why would I trust her with my $1 million investment if she can't even understand she has to go through this first? You understand? Like that mentality of like, what say she gets there to that match and all of a sudden they're like, hey, you have to lose to her. I shouldn't lose. I'm the hottest prospect here. And now we have somebody going into business on live TV with somebody who makes $1 million. So if you can't keep your mouth shut in the beginner class, then I'm not going to put you on my big stage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not to be fair. I'm not sure she spoke up.
No.
I'm
not saying she did. I'm not saying
she did. I know
I'm
after the fact.
why WWE does
right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she said anything. I'm not blaming her at all. What I'm saying is this is why they do those things. Like that's why, like they told me
it's all mine. They always try to fuck with you.
They told me in 2014 they don't invite other coaches in. And then they invited me in to talk to them. And the first thing Canyon says to me, he goes, what do you want to see? What do you want to do? And I go, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to see anything. I want to talk business. I want to talk about how about when my students come there that I maybe get an email about the things they need to work on, not them, since I'm their coach. Oh, that seems reasonable. I was like, yeah. Also, in the past, wrestlers get signed. WWE gives the money to the schools. Oh, yeah, we can do that too. We'll make sure that you're taken care of. Well, I've never gotten one email yet from WWE about my students that got their tryouts. I have not got paid from my 7 or 8 students that got signed to WWE. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then when I was there, I said, I'm putting over Cuddy. I'm putting over Cutler, Macklin. And he goes, yeah, I love him too. If we only had him 6'5" and Latino. I go, yeah, I gave you that. You fucked it up. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, Punishment Martinez. He's at Ring of Honor right now. We had him in for a tryout 2014. You said no. And they go, he must be unamazing. And I go, what? And I show him a picture from Ring of Honor. And he goes, send me his stuff. And then Canyon, when I'm out in the parking lot, send me his stuff. Like right now, I sent. He goes, oh yeah, I forgot. I remember now. It was because of his age, and we were looking for a Mexican for that slot. And I go, okay, so now they signed him in 2018, 4 years later, still not Mexican, and 4 years older, and paid him more. But what the fuck do I know?
That's funny. Hey, speaking of WWE, I mean, we've talked a little bit about it. You got any take on the Vince McMahon scandal by chance?
He's a piece of shit. That's it.
It's a good take.
I mean, that's simple as that. Like that's like, he reminds me of like the people, like if all the stories are true, he reminds me of the people that like I dealt with when I used to bounce. When I used to bounce, there'd be like a group of bouncers that would find the drunkest person and beat him up to sound tough. Like, so Vince basically took like what it sounds like a person who needed like help the most, gave her help and then exploited it and made her made her do horrible things. Like, that's a piece of shit. Like, for anybody to take somebody at their weakest and figure out the first thing is like, how can I manipulate that? That's a piece of shit to me. So like, that's what reminds me of just somebody who's just a horrible person at the core. And listen, this also goes to show that like, when you're a victim of shit, it also leads you to do some bad things. Cause like I've heard Vince was, a sexual abuse victim. Right. And then, that does trickle on. Like I've dealt with that in my, my surroundings and dealing with people that have gone through that stuff. Like hurt people usually hurt people or else they go and they protect people. Me, I like to protect people. Like I've been through some shit. I like to protect people. Just because number one, it's my core nature to do that. And number two, I try to be something for other people that weren't there for me. And for Vince to do all that, like, I don't care about all his stuff that he did good. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure a lot of priests did some good things. They also did a lot of awful things. I don't need to go, oh, we have to forget about, the priest shoving that up to that kid, whatever, because he also blessed them. No, fuck you. Like, I don't care. Like, Vince is done. Brock is done. Like, it's all done to me. Like, they're done to me. I don't care. That's a piece of shit. That's how simple that was.
That's
another
good.
reason probably why I won't get hired anywhere.
So we're going to be finished up here in a second. It sounds like you do kind of keep up with the product, watch it a little bit. You're talking about the stuff leading into WrestleMania. Do you have thoughts on, I guess, the uproar of Cody's finishing his story and The Rock stepping in and that whole scenario?
I love it. Here's why I love it. So like when you put out a movie, a lot of times that movie will get shown to different target audiences, and they might go, I don't like that ending. And they go, you know what? We're going to change it. No one goes, ha ha, you changed it. Ha ha ha, you suck. They go, yeah, they're listening to their audience. So the audience did what they were supposed to do, said, no, we don't like that. And WWE's like, cool, we'll pivot and we'll keep working. That's what they did. And I don't care. Like, I love that that wasn't their process. It shows that they can learn. You know what? And guess what? If someone wants to say they knew this was going to happen and whatever, who cares? Either way, I'm enjoying it. Either way, my interest has gone up. Nobody got hurt in the process. We had some cool creative. We saw some people get creative. The only thing that did suck is we saw fans be pieces of shit. And this is why I say wrestlers shouldn't post in character on Twitter or any social media. They should just be themselves, because who the fuck works when you're not being paid? Only dumbass wrestlers do. But like, you had death threats and shit like that. That's awful to me. Like that's awful to me. Like, yeah. But like, yeah, I thought it was great. I thought the pivot was perfect. I thought like they could have done it so many different ways. I thought it could have been a pivot of The Rock being like, listen, they could have baby faced him. The Rock could have been like, listen, I'm in a position where I'm an executive here and I'm going to let you finish your story. Unlike with your father, when they didn't think you were the face, we think you're the face of the company. We're giving you that shot. Boom. They could have done it that way, but this way works just as well. It's more drama. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I'm intrigued by it. I like it. People are talking. People are watching. I mean, according to everything I read and hear, their business is bigger than ever. And even with all the Vince, scandal and stuff out there, it looks like they're going to overcome that and move forward. Which
like if you cut the tumor out, the body goes on. You know what I mean? Like that's the way it is.
Yep.
So let's just make sure we get all of that tumor.
That's right. Let me get your stuff up here one more time here. Got an email up here, monsterfactorytv@gmail.com. Check him out on X at the Danny Cage, and then check out the Apple Show, the show on Apple TV, tv.apple.com. Monster Factory. Rip, you got any final thoughts here before we go out with the big headbang by Starrcade?
Well, DC got to vent today, and from what I hear, me and him are a whole lot alike. I don't give a fuck about the fucking big boys. They can kiss my motherfucking ass. And excuse me, I know my fucking worth, and the guys that worked under me, they know what I'm all about, and that's all I really give a shit about was the guys. I tried to help.
I love you.
Well, I'm hot.
He's so lovable.
I'm lovable. I can't do that. And nothing on me works.
So I'm in a couple of these videos. So Starrcade is a classic like 80s Crockett promotion rap wrestling group. So they go check them out on YouTube, and that's our closing song is by Starrcade. So all we got to do, we got to get a little bit of a head bob here at the end.
Now we're over.
Thanks to Danny Cage for joining us today. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for everybody out there watching and listening today. Have a great weekend.
Don't get no better than this.
Don't get better than this. Oh, I didn't. That's a terrible